Welcome into Running It Straight for another Wednesday. It is the last day of July, which means August is around the corner, and that makes me feel like finals footy is also around the corner as well, Jello, as we talk rugby league for the next hour or so. Plenty to come up on the show today. We're going to chat with Brad Takairangi, former Eels, former Cook Islander as well, Jello, just to tick that box on running it straight, always making sure we've got some Cook Island flavour. And, of course, the Warriors taking on the Eels on Friday night. So we'll talk to Brad Takairangi about all of that. We will look back at the West Tigers game on Friday very, very shortly. Look ahead to this Friday, as I said, with the team lists out yesterday for both teams. Some very interesting changes. Shaun Johnson back in, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck playing on the wing, a good mix of youth and experience. No Te Maire Martin, though. He's out of the 17. So we'll dive into that. We'll have a look at the other games this weekend, and we'll also have a look or add another player to our Simpsons XIII, Jello. I think we're only about two or three players away from that finishing up. So we will do all that over the next hour, but we do open the show, as we always do, talking about the game in the previous round, which was, of course, round 21. 28-16, the Warriors over the Tigers. Clunky, Jello, even though, once again, the lion's share of possession, the lion's share of territory, hammering the Tigers' line for long periods. Just not able to get, I guess, the points that were on offer, and in the end, only a 12-point win. What do you make of it all on Friday night?
I think it's one of those games where you look at our team and you say, okay, we're a little bit decimated with injuries, so we're not going to read too much into the results of it and how we play. You know, we've got those troops back this week, so I think this week will be a lot more telling of where we are as a team. But overall, they needed to get a win. They got the win. It was ugly, very ugly, but job done.
Something we've talked about a lot, and I know Aish is hot on this as well, is, you know, being a little bit more, not risky, but taking sort of certain plays on, whether it's an offload or whether it's a pass out wide, or, you know, something that we haven't really done over the last 2 years under Andrew Webster. Very high completion rate, leading the comp in, you know, metres and post contacts, etc. But, you know, very low down on tries and offloads and all that sort of stuff. But Friday was clunky. It did seem like they were trying to do some things, or maybe they were trying a little bit too hard. Where does, like, I guess, the balance sit for you in terms of how much you want to see them, you know, stick to that sort of Melbourne Storm, get through your sets, grind a team down, versus playing a little bit of a quote-unquote Warriors style and throwing the ball around and trying something a bit different? I'm somewhere in the middle. So I think that Melbourne kind of style, or we call it the Melbourne style, you know, it's probably not anymore. Everyone plays it like that. But that style is good, I think, to start the game off, to get yourself into the game. I think because they played the Tigers, they thought, let's score on every play. That's what it looked like, and that's what it felt like. But I'm somewhere in the middle. I think get to the right part of the field, then start to ask some questions, and throw a bit of variety and, you know, some offloads and try stuff. But, yeah, in the right part of the field. Yeah, because I've said, you know, for a long time that the Melbourne Storm style of play that teams really try to emulate. And I thought Stephen Kearney, that's what he tried to bring when he came to the club. He sort of got rid of the offloads, got rid of the flair, and he had come from the Melbourne system. And my thing is, not everyone can play like Melbourne. Yeah. And this goes for any club. This is not just the Warriors, but like that sort of grind. And the Bulldogs are sort of doing it this year, that real, like, grind a team into the ground, back your defence. It doesn't have to be flash on attack. You just have to, you know, get through your sets, make them pay for their mistakes. But it doesn't work for every club, you know, and some clubs thrive off being a little bit, like the Broncos are a good example. They make a lot of errors. Yeah. And I know, you know, 2024 is not going the way that they would have liked. But even last year, like Reece Walsh led the league, I think, last year in errors. Their completion rate was well down. The Brisbane Broncos to make a grand final. They arguably could have won it if not for the 20 minutes at the end. You know, so some teams, it's different. You know, they thrive off being more creative, which means maybe some more errors.
Yeah, it's different strokes for different folks. Every team has a style that'll suit them, and you can feel it in some games. Like if you're both trying to play that game style, and every time your fullback catches the ball, he's closer to his try line, you're not winning that battle.
No.
Okay. So,
and that's what the Bulldogs game felt like, right? The 13-12, it felt like that.
Well, it shows like the difference in kicker. Teams that have a good kicker, like a Matt Burton or a Nathan Cleary or a Mitch Moses. Fogarty, like, a kick is so valuable. You can see the impact that it has in pinning fullbacks where you want them and starting your sets in the right places. Even if in attack you're not getting it done, the kicker can fix that gap for you. So, for the Warriors, I think Oh, actually, the Dolphins. The Dolphins are a good example of this, okay? Because the Dolphins will lose that battle, and then they'll go 2 passes wide, one-on-one, Herbie Farnworth or the Hammer will get a little quick play the ball, and that's their ticket out. That's how that's a style that kind of suits them.
You got to have that personnel, right? You just mentioned Herbie and Sarko, Tabuai-Fidow. These are guys that one-on-one can beat their man.
If your team has that, use it. Like that's something your team has that other teams don't. You got to use your advantages, and a good coach will know what the advantages are, and the game plan will suit the weapons.
So my problem with this Jello is that like your Dallins, probably your Chans, your Montoya, they're not those guys. Roger is.
They are.
Roger's probably your number one guy.
Chances, I think Dallin runs the ball well.
Yeah, they run the ball, but do they have that like one-on-one capability?
Well, they're very good at, if Roger gets a quick play of the ball, then boom, Dallin hits the ruck, he gets a quick play of the ball, he gets a quick play of the ball. Our back five can generate meters very, very well when we win that first one, and then we're all off to the races. It's when Dallin's injured and someone else is injured, and Roger's fullback,
which seems to happen.
And then we've got back rowers playing centre, and then our back five loses that punch, and you could see it in the last few weeks. Like we have struggled to get to a good area to kick from. So,
but like, do you get what I'm saying with and who's a good example of this? I'm trying to think of some of the wingers in the comp that just they have this innate ability to one-on-one beat a defender. And it might be close to the try line, or it might be on halfway to get a break. But it's sometimes I just, and maybe it's a pace thing, right? Like we've talked about a lot with the Warriors, like not having the express pace of a Hammer, a Reece Walsh. These guys that are just rapid.
Yeah.
Dallin's quick. Don't get me wrong.
We got Metcalf when he's on the field.
Correct. That's a good one, and it's great to see. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on.
Yeah, with our outside backs, we are missing that elite.
Just the elite speed, pace, right? The elite pace. Couple of things from the Tigers game then. Who I guess stood out for you? Who was, I guess, a player of the day for you? And who do you think sort of maybe not took a step backwards, but was just in the background a little bit?
I thought Adam was good. I thought he needed to step up, kind of lead that pack around. He did that, got his meters, done a good job. Kurt Capewell was good in patches. I think a few people were quite good in patches. But yeah, collectively it wasn't a great game, but yeah, there's a couple individuals that played all right. I thought I wanted to see a little bit more from Awala.
Yeah.
So if you're in the situation that he's in, where there's guys out injured, they could be back soon. You want to like really stamp that centre spot as yours. I'd be taking 20 plus carries. I'd be doing everything I can to hold that spot.
And he looked good, when
he looked good. He looked good. Like, credit to him. He done his job. That's what he needed to do first and foremost, was do his job. He done his job, made his tackles. I just thought he could have done a little bit more. Yeah.
No, that is fair. Just elsewhere across the NRL, Storm 32-14 over the Eels. Bulldogs, big win over the Broncos, 41-16. Cowboys 30-22 over the Sharks. Roosters over the Seagulls, 34-30, a bit tighter than they would have liked. The Panthers with a demolition over the Dragons, 46-10. The Titans beating the Dolphins, 21-14. And the Raiders getting over the Rabbitohs, 32 points to 12. Is there a game of the week, or one or two of the weekend, Jello, that stuck out for you?
Oh, that Doggies game. I thought they might have kept it close.
Once Stephen Crichton was out, I thought put your money on the Broncos.
I was the same. I thought they might. I think it was like a 6-point spread or something, and I thought, they might keep it close. They keep it close for most games, and then when Crichton was out, I thought, oh no, this could get away from them. But man, what a game! What a game, man. The other one stood out for me was Seagulls coming close to the Roosters. They were unlucky not to get it done there. Panthers were clinical, man. How good is Cleary?
Yeah, just a phrase. Great for fantasy as well, Jell. I'm glad you pulled him into your team.
How scary is this, okay? Imagine, like, Penrith are a good shout. They could win 4. They could win 4, definitely.
Yep. Could
be favourites. Maybe, probably favourites to win 4.
Yeah.
Look at their signings for next year. Papali'i going there. They got Big Stefano from the Tigers.
Wait, Papali'i, do they have...
Isaiah Papali'i.
Yeah, that's right, they do.
So there's no slowing down with their with their roster. Their roster's going to be good.
Well, they don't have James Fisher-Harris.
They don't have James Fisher-Harris, but they're a shout again to win 5.
That's
if
true.
they win 4 this year, there's no reason why
I think that the Panthers are the quintessential, everyone's trying to do what the Panthers are doing now, right? With recruitment and with junior programs. Like, it's all the Penrith model, and it's going to be interesting to see how Penrith adapt now, because, the problem with salary capped competitions, and this happens in North America as well, if you look at like the NHL is a very hard salary capped competition, right? And the way it's supposed to work is it's supposed to work like a carousel. So you get teams that do what Penrith do. They build from the bottom up. They're terrible for a couple of years. They might win a couple of wooden spoons, but they start to build these juniors up, mixed in with a couple of experienced players to pull them through. And Penrith did it with James Maloney, right, alongside Cleary in the halves.
Yeah, that's right.
And they pull them through. And then once those juniors sort of reach their peak, you have a full complement of junior players that were brought up through your system at a cheap price because you've probably signed them on their first contract or initial contract, so you're not pulling them in for $1 million.
No.
But the way the salary cap works is, okay, so you win a couple of titles, guys start getting good, they start wanting more money, and you can't pay everyone at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
There's also a discount. So if you've got a homegrown player, $100,000 of that doesn't count on your salary cap.
I didn't actually know that. I thought they wanted that, but there was no such thing. But anyway, the point is you'll lose some of those players, right? As they start to get better, they'll demand more money and they'll start leaving. And you're tasked with, at that point, keeping a core body of guys that you really want at the club, and once again, doing the juniors thing and coming up. And it's designed so that no club, Jello, stays at the top forever. And even the Melbourne Storm, who have been one of the best clubs of the last 25 years, only have, 3 titles to show for it? 4 titles, which you wouldn't say, I mean, it's a lot, but it's not total domination.
No.
Penrith is as close as it comes with 3 in a row. So it's, like I said, going to be interesting to see how Penrith move forward now into the next couple of years. You're losing sort of these legacy players that have been there from the beginning, the James Fisher-Harrises, the Stephen Crichtons, the Jerome Luais, and to see how they, push forward underneath.
I think Luai could be a bigger miss than what people are anticipating.
I agree.
I think watching that grand final last year, I think he missed the semi, didn't he? He was injured in the semi. Played half a grand final maybe.
Yeah, got taken off in the grand final.
Got taken off, and that's where the game kind of turned. And then maybe from there they were thinking, well, maybe we don't need him. If he wants to go, or if he wants to.
But he's had a great year this year.
I know, that's what I mean.
Huge, yeah.
That's what I mean, like in the absence of Cleary.
And he's surprised me because I've always said, Jello, that he's nothing without Cleary. But this year, he's surprised me. I'll put my hand up and say I got that one wrong. So I think they'll miss him massively. I think they will miss him massively.
If they do win it this year, possibly him not being there could be the Achilles heel that's going to trip them up for 5 in a row.
But we have been saying that every year. Stephen Crichton.
Stephen Crichton. I said Stephen Crichton. Defensively, the edges are going to struggle without Stephen Crichton, and then they just kill it.
I think they still have the best defence in the competition.
What a time to be alive, eh? What a time to witness this kind of thing.
It is. You do have to sit back and enjoy it. And look, Penrith are a team I couldn't handle the Storm doing it again, or the Roosters or something. It's sort of cool. I used to like Penrith as a kid. I had Penrith Panthers rugby league shorts, and I used to I enjoy watching the Scotty Sattlers and those guys running around. So that's quite a cool club. I don't mind it. Yes, it can get a bit boring and a bit stale when the same team's winning all the time. Yeah. But to your point, Jelly, you just sort of have to appreciate it.
Yeah,
right?
well, I remember that 03 grand final when they beat the Roosters. They were kind of underdogs for that, so everybody got behind them. Everybody loved it.
And the Roosters beat us the year before, so I just wanted to see them lose.
I don't like that. But when you look back as well, you look back at the history of the NRL and you look back at all these teams and you can see where the Dragons were dominant in this era and you can see where Para were dominant in this area. It's cool that we can be alive to see 4 straight.
Yeah, and
if it happens,
in 30 or 40 years, we're going to be the ones saying, when people are saying, people are going to say, the Titans are building a dynasty, and we're going to say, you don't remember the Penrith Panthers of 2020.
You want to see a dynasty.
Yeah, and then they'll say something like, back when they had 6 agains and everyone was, the game was 4 times as slow.
Played with 1 ball. Something like that.
They played with referees. Back when they had referees. Anyway, our Frank Energy, Frank assessment. Thanks to Frank Energy selling it to you straight, Jello, of the Warriors Tigers. Can you give me a score out of 10 performance-wise?
Overall for the team collectively?
Yeah, just the team performance. 28-16. They get 2 points.
6.5.
6.5? That's still pretty high. That's still pretty high.
Scored some points.
Are you still convinced they'll play finals footy?
Yes, I am.
Okay, hold on to that. Yes, our Frank assessment of round 21. Thanks to Frank Energy. No contracts, no complex plans, no free TVs, just power serve straight up. Frank Energy. Running it straight here on SENZ. We'll take a break. When we come back, Brad Takairangi, the former Parramatta Eel. He did play 110 games for Para. Also played for the Titans and the Roosters up in the Super League with Hull as well, and a couple of games for the Cook Islands. Brad Takairangi, a bit of a legend, is going to join us after the break here on Running It Straight. Stay with us. Welcome back into Running It Straight on SENZ, talking rugby league up until 3 p.m. and the Warriors facing the Eels this Friday night. We have a very special former Eel joining us on the line, Jello.
That's right, mate. Let me introduce this man. He's a 200 gamer, former Rooster, former Titan, former Parramatta Eel, and also Haukea. Ladies and gentlemen, Cook Island's own Brad Takairangi. What's happening, brother?
Hello, my boys. How are you?
We're good, man. We're good. Hey, we know you're out and about today. What are you getting up to today? What's your role now that you've finished up?
So myself and Trent Hodkinson are currently out at Tamworth visiting schools with the NRL community team. So I'm just lucky enough to have a bit of reception so I can speak to you at this time.
Out on the wops, all good, man. Waz playing the Eels this weekend. Hey, we spoke to Aisha last week about, some of these teams that are struggling, the Tigers, the Eels and stuff like that. The question I have for you is, what does the Eels junior system look like? Because what Aish was saying was, for the Tigers, like they're fishing in the same pool as the Eels, as all these teams out west, the Bulldogs, the Panthers, they're all kind of fishing in the same pond for these kids. And if your team's not going well, it's very hard for you to attract juniors to your clubs. What was the junior system like at Para from what you saw?
Mate, we had a lot of juniors coming through when we were, especially when I was finishing up. So around 1920, we had a lot of our junior boys coming straight into the top 20 or top 30 at the time. I'm not too sure what it's like now, being 3 or 4 years ago, but back then, man, we had some great juniors and they've always been like a powerhouse. So I'd love to see that, like, these young juniors being nurtured through a bit more, because as you can see, what Penrith have done over the last 5 years is it took a while to build it, but they just have this production line that just keeps coming through no matter who they lose. So I'd love to see that happening out in Para as well.
I know during your time there was 6 years, at Para. You guys played some finals footy, 17, 19. They even went on to play the GF in 23. 22. What's the, if you look at that Para team now, like, it's on paper, it's a very good team. Why is it that they can't get it to click at the moment? Do you think it was Brad Arthur had to go for things to kind of move forward? Like, where do you see Para at the moment? What seems to be the problem?
Man, I think losing, obviously not having Mitchell there for the bulk of it, that definitely doesn't help. I don't think people understand, they'll probably do now after watching his Origin series, but he's a massive influence. And yeah, he doesn't make all the tackles and stuff, but just having him in the team, guiding the team, like his kicking game can get Para out of any bad yardage set. He makes a massive difference. So I think not having the bulk of their players, like obviously they're missing Junior Paulo now, Gutho's been out for a few weeks as well. This definitely doesn't help having the big stars of the team out. But in saying that, I think it is disappointing as a former Eel to watch them and to know how good they actually can be with their roster, and to not see them doing well is, it's a little bit upsetting, I guess.
It's sort of similar for Warriors fans as well, Brad. Without that roster looks on paper and the injuries that they've had, they've had too. When the Eels were at their best and the teams that you were involved in, what was, I guess, that identity? What was it about the team? When they were flying high, they were winning games, they were upsetting the big names that you saw when you were a part of it all.
Oh, I think it's just, I think it was no secret, but when we're on the front foot, when Para's on the front foot, that power game, not many teams can go with them. So I know that when I was playing there, BA was massive on, promoting the footy, and if the offload was there to a better person in a better position, just throw it. They used to give us confidence, and we were allowed to play footy, and I think that's when we were most successful during those times.
Hey, speaking of promoting footy, mate, there's a game down in Rotorua on October 12th. Sione Famuina's put together an absolute dream team there, taking on a Bay of Plenty rep team with our man Blake Ashford lining up at...
Is he?
Yeah, Ash is on the list, mate.
You know what he told me? Because he was playing in his grand final on the weekend, and he's playing 13 at the moment, and he says, no contact. Just gets rid of the ball as quickly as he can. No contact. Doesn't make any tackles either. So,
Tuckers, are you... I saw your name on the list. Are you a lock-in for that game?
Yeah, we're locked in. Been talking to Sione a bit, and managed to rack up a few boys over this side of the world as well. So looking forward to coming over with a good crew, man. It's all for a good cause too. So at the moment, I'm doing a bit of stuff with the State of Mind NRL team around mental health. So I think it was a bit of a coincidence that Siona's running a game over in the Rotorua and to promote mental health. So it's going to be good fun, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you again, my bro.
Yeah, man. So you mentioned the state of mind. What about the state of the rig? How are you holding up? Are you still playing? Are you still training?
Man, like, honestly, I'm lucky enough to work at my mate's gym, Reborn, down in the Shire, and I think I'm actually in better shape than when I was playing NRL.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah, baby.
So, no, it's all good now, bro.
Nice, man.
Maybe you need to join your local gym, Jello.
Oh, no, I got to catch up, bro. Hey, I know you're a busy man today. I really appreciate your time. Before you go, can you give us a prediction?
Yeah.
Wars versus Eels this weekend.
Oh, shivers. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm on the Wires bandwagon a little bit, and obviously with all the boys that Para have out, I'd love to see them win, but I'd love to watch the Warriors make the semis, so I think Wires in for a big win.
Yeah.
Well, that's just before we do let you go, Brad. Obviously, you played for the Kiwis as well, so you got the New Zealand connection there. Like, how cool is it to see from afar just that groundswell from the Warriors both last year and this year? We've just news earlier this week that they've become the first team in NRL history to sell out every home game. Just remarkable, I guess, how popular rugby league has become in New Zealand over the last 2 years, mate. It must be pretty cool to watch from afar.
Oh, bro, it's so good, man. And I've got a couple of mates in there still playing as well. So we actually went over to watch the Wires versus Broncos game last year in the semis. And although they didn't get the win, like what they've done for the country, I think they're pretty much taking over rugby union, I reckon, with how big the numbers are and the crowds and that sort of stuff. So they can still make the semis. So I'm definitely cheering them on to hopefully get in there and give it a good crack.
Nah, that's the one, man. Hey, awesome to speak to you, Tuckers. Really appreciate your time, and know you're out there promoting the great game of rugby league, doing God's work out in the community.
Well, I can't wait. I also can't wait for like a Jello and Takairangi Cook Island coaching duo at some stage in the future.
Ooh,
Oh,
like
mate,
that,
surely.
Tuckers lead them astray, bro.
Oh, you don't know this, Brad, but Jello's got this mandate on our league show here to just fill it with former Cook Islands players. So he's sort of subtly just pushing
I love that.
pushing that every week.
it.
So yeah, we're going to become one of their main sponsors, mate. Thanks heaps
Big fan.
yeah, thanks for jumping on with us, mate. No, you've got a very busy day ahead. It's been awesome to catch up and go well.
Pleasure, boys. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back into Running It Straight here on SENZ. Great to catch up with Brad Takairangi just before the break. If you missed that one, go and check it out on our SENZ League podcast channels. Right, to round 22 we go, and the Warriors taking on the Eels Friday at 8 p.m. Go Media Stadium, Mount Smart. We will have live commentary here on SENZ. And look, every game heading towards round 27, Jello, is a must-win game if the Warriors want to play finals. So here they are in another position against the Eels, who are struggling in 16th position down towards the bottom of the NRL ladder, and a real chance for the Warriors to get yet another 2 points. The 17 named by Andrew Webster, Nickel Klukstar, straight back into the fullback position following his time off with injury. Dalamatini-Zelezniak and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck goes back out to that wing. Ali Leatoa and Moala Graham-Tofa once again in the centres together. Chanel Harris-Tavita in at number 6, and Shaun Johnson makes his return in the number 7 jersey. Unfortunately, that means Te Maire Martin is out of the starting 17. For Noah Blake, Mitch Barnett, the 2 props, Wade Egan, the number 9, Maratini Akore, Kurt Capewell on the 2nd row, Dylan Walker, the 13. Freddie Lussick, Tom Ale, Jazz Tavanga and Leka Halasima on the interchange. So that means the extended bench has Dimitri Sivakula, Tain Tuopiki, Te Maire Martin, Ed Kossi and Bunty Afoa. What do you make of the 17 Jello? For the first time in a couple of weeks, we've got a real couple of talking points here in terms of the halves and, of course, Roger and Chance at the back.
Yeah, a bit of a shake-up, man. So no Te Maire Martin. So you thought that maybe that Te Maire and Chanel combination was something that we'll be building to for next year. Mm-hmm. 2 questions I got for you, okay? First one, do you think the club will re-sign SJ?
Well, we had Cam George on yesterday and we asked him the question and he was quite coy on it. I just don't know the answer, Jello. I don't know where SJ's at. I think...
Well, he said on his podcast, he said he'd love to stay. If he does keep playing next year, it wouldn't be for any other club. He wants to...
I think Cam George said yesterday, like, if we can pay him or something. Like, so it sounds like there'll be a bit of a...
thinking about
how much are you going to pay me? I think, look, put it this way. From the Warriors' point of view, would they want Shaun Johnson to come back for next year? 100%. Like, why wouldn't you? Even if he's say injured, you still want him around the club and you want him around those junior players, like the youngsters like Luke Metcalf.
Yeah.
But from their point of view, we don't want to pay $600,000 for that or $700,000 for that, right? Like that's a smaller contract if that's the sort of scenario that you're facing. And for Shaun Johnson, it's like, I've got one more year. I really want to win with the club. I really want to stay here. I want to make sure I'm, getting every scene out of my NRL career, and fair enough to him. I don't blame him for that at all. So, yeah, as long as they can meet that middle ground, I think both parties want it, and I think it'd be good for both parties.
For the right price.
For the right price.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this.
I don't think it's logical to pay him $700,000 if he's only going to pay next year. He might only play 10 games, right? Like if he's injured.
Well, that was my second question. My second question was, have they benched Te Maire because this is like a trial for SJ? Like, show us what you can do in the next couple of rounds.
Well, but once again, Jello, we're forgetting that Luke Metcalf will be that number 6, like when he comes back in, right? So we talk about Chanel and the combination with Te Maire and Shaun. I still think the halves combination is Luke and Shaun. I still think that's the first off the block. And to be honest, Jello, my second would be probably. Oh, I was going to say Te Maire and Luke, but then I think you lack a kicking game there. I think what Chanel's bringing with the kicking game is fantastic, right? My mates, I saw someone tweet about this as well, but my mates are saying Chanel is almost flawless apart from the goal kicking. And that's what people sort of latch on to is, he can't kick goals.
He doesn't even have to kick goals.
Correct.
Yeah.
Once Shaun and that's back, or, once he had Adam Pompey back in the side. So, but in terms of his kicking off the left foot and what he's like, his defence is incredible as well. I'm inclined to maybe have Chanel.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one. I thought it was going to be easy to answer.
You don't need 4 halves, though, do you?
No, you don't.
Yeah.
And that's why you would go with Ronald Volkman. Like, it's,
true.
And I don't think. I don't think Andrew Webster predicted Chanel. This is an honest assessment. I don't think he predicted Chanel would be a starting half when they re-signed him. I thought the idea was that he was going to be a utility, right? He's going to be a 14. He could play hooker. He could play in the back. He could play whatever. But he's now the starting halfback, and we've got that decision. So to your point, how many do you need?
Well, I think next couple of games is kind of a trial for SJ to see how he goes physically, because if he comes out and does his calf again, it's like...
Is he fully healthy? Have you seen him around?
I don't think he's been fully healthy all year.
Right.
And early in the season, he said he had that Achilles thing, and that was carrying on from when he missed the Penrith game in the finals the year before.
That's a long time, Jello, that was 6 or 7 months prior.
Yeah.
Is that 6 months prior? Yeah, August.
He's just getting to that age, man.
That's what I mean.
Adam Reynolds is the same.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You get to that age where it's calves and
so you can't pay a guy like that $700K. You know what I mean?
You're not expecting him to play a full season.
Yeah, for sure. So... Yeah. It's a great question. So you think that Shaun's on a little bit of a fitness trial?
I think so.
Luke Metcalf could be back next week. Would you put Luke straight in, or would you put Luke on the interchange? Would you put Chanel on the interchange?
It depends if they win this week. If they win this week, there's everything to play for. You bring Luke back because we need him back and we need results.
And then Chanel becomes, a 14?
Yeah, if we lose this year, are you going to rush him back? Probably not, If there's nothing to play for with 4 games to go, are you going to put pressure, like injury pressure, on these guys that might have a question mark on them?
Well,
probably not.
The other big question mark from this squad, of course, is, well, not question mark, but point of interest is obviously Chan's going back to the back, Roger to the wing. Now, I know you're a fan of having Roger on the wing. Is that the best position for him? Is that the best position for him to be in that team, given what we saw, on Friday against the West Tigers?
I think in this lineup, yes, because you don't want Chan sitting on the bench and you don't want Chan's on the wing. I think Roger is a much better winger. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it has to be. Have to put him on the wing, just because when he's on the wing, everyone else is kind of unlocked to do.
Let me ask you this then:
thing.
Fully fit Montoya, fully fit Delamatini-Zelezniak. So you've got your 2 wingers locked in.
Yeah.
Would you then have Roger at the back? Even though I take your point that you don't want Chan sitting on the pine. I just think what you saw on Friday, Jello, like Roger is one of the best fullbacks in the comp. Like when he's in that position, he runs for 300 metres. He makes 5 try-saving tackles, a bunch of line breaks.
Does he make the try assist though?
Well, now see, that's the thing, right? He's a different type of fullback. So you get the distributing fullbacks like the Chance Nickel-Cook Stars. I guess like James Tedesco in a way is a bit of a distributor, but then you also just get the runners, right? You get the Clint Guthersons. Dylan Edwards not really a distributor, like he can.
Yeah, but he's gone a lot better last few years.
But he's a runner, like, and that's what Roger's strength is. So. You're hard pressed to find one that does it all. But yeah, I guess that's what you have to balance. Do you want someone who is going to run for 300 metres, make those try-saving tackles, line breaks, etc.? Or do you want someone who's a better ball player, which is probably
Well, I think if you're not a ball-playing fullback, you're just as good on the wing. Because you can
that's
still
fair.
do the
That's
meters.
a good point. Yep. That's a great point. That's a great point. So that's the 17 for the Warriors. For the Eels, Clint Gutherson's at the back, Jake Targo and Shaun Russell, Shaun Russell on the wings, Blaze Talangi and Will Penasini in the centres, Dill Brown and Dejan Arce in the halves. And then you've got Regan Campbell, Gillard Woodhamu Greg in the front row, Brendan Hands, the number 9, Sean Lane, Bryce Cartwright in the second row, Ryan Madison, the lock, Joey Lussick, Joe Ofahingawe, Luca Moretti and Dan Kerr on the interchange. No Mitchell Moses, of course. So, I don't know, the assessment of that 17, Jello, and where maybe the Warriors can target them come Friday night.
I think it's their edges. Their edges make a lot of errors in D. And also up the middle. Like, I'll put our forward pack against anyone in the comp. You know, Adam and Mitch Barnett, you know, one's playing Origin, one's should be playing Origin if he wasn't playing for Tonga. So, I think across the park from 1 to 17 we got these guys covered.
No, but I agree. I've been looking at them all year being like, it's not a bad Eels team. I don't know why they're struggling, but they just are. There's a lot of disconnect as well. I know, you know, Gutherson, there was something that happened on the weekend where he was yelling at one of the young players, and I remember, I think it was on the SEN commentary, and Sats was saying, like, if you're a leader of a team, if you're one of the senior players and you're the captain, like, is it really necessary or the right thing to spray one of your youngsters for making a mistake? Like, you know, that's you wouldn't see Tohu Harris, you know, doing that.
There's a
Isaiah
way.
Yeo.
There's a way to do it. Like 100%. If you're a leader in the team, you got to hold standards. So you give someone a spray, but it's grab them like this and spray them, mate. Pull your head and blah blah blah. It's not spray them on camera for everyone to see and everyone to hear it.
Yeah, I agree.
They always say praise in public. Criticise in private.
Right then, Jello, what are you predicting for Friday at 8 p.m?
I think Warriors get it done. I think we start well. I think we get out to a 12-0 lead, and then the Eels come back, and then we...
That sounds way too familiar.
You've read that book before.
I have.
You've seen that movie.
So is there points on offer for the Warriors? I feel like, I've been saying it every week, like the attack against the Tigers, apart from the points, was very, very good. So just getting over the line, you know, they can score 40 points on these teams.
I think we will. I think we will be in the high 30s, low 40s perhaps.
Well, with Shaun as well, it'll be interesting to see, you know, attacking-wise what
we
what
need to have a game where like we had one last week to be fair, but where people aren't going off. We don't have wingers. Yeah, we just HIA. We don't have fullbacks going down.
That's actually a funny thing. Is I don't know if we talked about this last Wednesday, but like, is there something to be said around the injuries for the Warriors? They led the NRL last year for injuries, for major injuries. So that's, you know, players that would be in the starting 17, not just, you know, cut players, etc. And they lead the NRL this year for injuries.
Really?
Correct, yeah. They've led the NRL, but I think it's by quite some margin in 2024. I mean, look, if at one period in time, you could basically name like a start. We had Metcalf, Johnson, Chance, Montoya, Adam Pompey. We had like the whole back line was gone.
That was the Penrith game, wasn't it?
Yeah, the whole back line was
Magic
gone. Well, it was only 2 weeks ago that all those players were out as well, right? Dallin, Chance, Shaun, Montoya.
We're kind of used to it.
We've gotten used to it,
eh?
And it's good that, you know, the depth, considering we are the position we are, and it once again puts this whole season into perspective. I bet these people, you know, are going to text in or who are going to comment online saying that, oh, you know, typical us, you know, praising the Warriors mediocrity when they're sitting in 13th position or whatever. But you have to put everything in perspective. Like this is the NRL, and no team has had to deal with as many injuries as the Warriors. But Jello, is there something there, whether it's the travel factor of, you know, constantly they fly, you know, 4 times as much as any other team, does that play into injuries, or, you know, is it strength and conditioning, is we be training them too hard, are they too, you know, is there too much going on during the week? It's those sorts of things that you wonder with injuries, the amount of them.
Well, there's so many factors that handicap the Warriors that people don't talk about. And I think it was the Dolphins. I think it was like round 12 or something. They'd only just played their first game outside of Queensland.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
You're just catching a bus and back to every game. Even I was talking to Isaiah Papali'i after the game.
Yeah.
He was saying, I don't miss playing for the Warriors because after every game I'm back in my own bed. Yeah. And I was like, bro.
Yeah, that's. I mean, those little things though, Jello, that make a massive difference.
That's a huge difference. You're waking up fresh the next day, you know.
Yep, ready to rip in. You're mentally ready to go, and
you're not dragging yourself through the airport.
Not that really we can do much about that, right? Like, we're a New Zealand-based team in Australian competition, but I don't know.
Crack on, eh?
Maybe give us some more home games. I don't know, something about that. Anyway, what about some of the other games across the weekend as well? Got Tigers Cowboys tomorrow night at 9:50. I've done a fait accompli for the Cowboys. I did read somewhere that they face. or who have they got towards the back end of the season? Essentially, there's no excuse for the Cowboys to not make finals from this point. I think they're sitting in 5th position. They've got the Tigers, they've got the Broncos, Raiders, and Storm all at home and a bye.
Yep.
So another 2 points there, and they finish with the Bulldogs away. So no reason why the Cowboys
I'll be
shouldn't
very surprised if the Cowboys miss finals. They're actually in very good form. So they lost. They went down to the Sea Eagles by a drop goal 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, their last loss was against the Warriors back in round 14.
Yeah, and I think it was...
So even coming through that origin period, they had a bye. They turned over the Storm. They beat the Storm. I think they were one of the few teams to beat. Or was it Penrith? No, they beat Penrith, sorry.
Yeah, they did.
And then they're just, they're chalking up wins. A little bit under the radar because of where they are on the ladder.
I think it was Freddie or Joey that maybe 10 rounds ago made a prediction on who they reckon will surge to the finals, and they said the Cowboys. So they're riding that wave.
Yeah, they've got a good team. It's quite funny because you look at these games across the round. Like this is what I love about the NRL is it's not just that we're waiting for the finals. We're not just sitting around waiting for the finals and then that's a big game to watch.
Yeah.
But there's so many big games this week, and you've got the Dragons pretty much, they're playing for their season against the Storm. Titans and the Broncos, whoever loses is gone.
Yeah, that's must win on Saturday at 5 p.m.
So it's an elimination game 5 weeks before finals. This is what I love about it. Dolphins, they're playing to stay within the 8. They've got the Roosters. Warriors, Eels. Warriors have to win. What's the other one?
Sharks, Rabbits.
Rabbits. If Rabbits lose, they're gone.
They're pretty much gone. Panthers, the Knights basically gone. Bulldogs, Raiders, so that's big for the Raiders. Obviously, they got the win against the Rabbits, so they're trying to charge towards finals. Bulldogs want to, inch towards maybe a top 4 spot.
But that's what's cool, because if you're a Warriors fan watching at home, you can pick out in every game you need a team to lose. Every team that's sitting just above the Warriors. So you'll be rooting for the Roosters to take down the Dolphins. You'll be rooting for the Storm to take down the Dragons.
And this is one of the things with the NRL. So looking at the Roosters in 3rd position on 28 points and the Dragons in 10th position on 24. So 4 points separate 3rd and 10th, which was remarkably close competition. Just quickly, Jello, because we do need to get away. What is the... how many points do you need to make the top 8 this year, do you reckon? The Warriors on 21 now.
They've got 10 available. 30.
Yeah, so we've got 10 points available, and then we've got 2 points for the bye. So let's say we're on 23, so we've got to get 7 points in the last 10.
Plus the bye.
No, I'm saying with the bye, to get us to 23, we need 7 points from the last 4 games? 5 games.
5 games.
5 games. Yeah. So we need basically, 3 wins, and we can afford a tie. So we can only really lose 1 game. We can, if 30 is the number. If 30 is the number.
I think last year the Raiders snuck in with 32. But because of how close it is this year, I think 30 becomes a new number.
Very interesting.
Maybe. Fox gave us an 8% chance. Was it 3 weeks ago now?
I hate the percentages.
8% chance of making it 8. I'd love to see what that percentage is now. Surely you could figure it out, eh?
I'll find it out somewhere online. We'll take our last break here on Running It Straight. When we come back and before we hand over to the run home, we are going to go through our Simpsons 13. We're going to add one more player each as we inch towards a final squad makeup to bring you. It probably will coincide with finals footy coming up around the corner as well. Stay with us here on Running It Straight. Running it straight here on SENZ. We are about to hand over to the run home. Before we do, though, we need to add another player to our Simpsons 13. So just quickly, we'll run through the teams so far. Jello, what have you selected so far?
So far, I've got no fullback. I've got the 2 policemen, Lou and Eddie, on the wing centre combo on the left. On the right is Ned Flanders and Sideshow Bob. My halves are Troy McClure and Todd Flanders. My forward pack is Kearney at 8, Bart Simpson at 9, Barney Gumble in the 10. Still yet to choose one back rower, but the other back rower is Duffman. Oh, yeah.
And you need a 13 then as well, do you?
I need a 13, which I'm going to choose today, but I'm going to let you go
I'm going
first.
to choose my 13 today as well. Santa's Little Helper is my fullback. I'm missing the left pairing on the edge. I've got Selma and Paddy Bouvier on the other side. Smithers and Apu in the halves, Nelson Muntz and Judge Schneider in the front row with Mo Zizek, the number 9, Snake and groundskeeper Willie in the second row. My 13 today.
That's a good pack.
It's a great pack.
Are you going 13 as well?
13 today. I'm picking the Battle of the 13s today. Now, I'll say it, and you'll probably turn your nose up at it. Reverend Lovejoy in the 13. Was that yours?
I was thinking about him.
Reverend Lovejoy. And the reason why is when I think of 13s, Jello, I think of like your Tohu, your Isaiah Yeo, your Trent Giro. They're sort of boring, stoic. don't say a lot when they talk. It's pretty sort of like, just good to the
Monotone,
boys
yeah.
and monotone. That's very much Reverend Lovejoy.
Okay, you like that mould?
Religious as well, so we throw that little piece in there. So yeah, I'm going to go Reverend Lovejoy in the 13.
I've gone for my 13. So this guy, he kind of fits more of like the Dallas Johnson kind of 13. Just hard working, not scared to get his hands dirty. I've gone for Cletus. Old country Cletus. He's a country boy, so he can play.
So he's
footy.
tough.
He's
agricultural.
Tough. He's making 60 tackles, and because he's not a big body, people run at him, but he'll take them by surprise. He's kind of like a John Bateman, not big frame or anything like that, but just workhorse, gets it done. He's one for your fantasy team. He's a fantasy
could he
captain.
be accused of a few brain explosions?
Don't give him the ball. He's just there to tackle, bro.
Don't give
Keep
him
it simple.
Yeah, he'd be good at chirping as well on the other side of the field, just winding up the opposition, getting involved.
He can drink too. I've got a whole team full of alcoholics.
Yeah,
He can drink.
yeah, do. So we've got 2 players left before our Simpsons 13 is complete for good. That is us for running it straight for another week. Big shout out to Brad Takairangi for coming on. If you missed that, go and check it out on our podcast channels. Live commentary of the Warriors Eels from Go Media Stadium, Mount Smart on Friday night. Kickoff at 8 p.m. Myself and Aish in the box for that one. It will be a pleasure to call it for you, and it'll be a pleasure to be here next Wednesday alongside Yellow for another edition of Running It Straight. Catch you then.
SENZ. It's Kiwi for Sport.